everything that Noah and I have been speaking about, everything we've talked about preparing financially, is expected now to manifest this season, in fact, this year, 2024. The season is spring, and the month is May.
Live from America's heartland, this is the Daily Truth Report with your host, Noah Christopher.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Daily Truth Report. And I have Bo Polny back with us today. Bo, we have so much to cover. We just went through just a little bit of it before we hit the record button. But let me do a real quick setup. I'm going to turn it over to you because we're going to fly through this, and we're probably not even going to be able to get to it all. But trust me when I tell you, Bo has some big stuff for you today. So we're recording this. I always like to say it because these get shared around. We're recording this on May 8th. And Bitcoin is at 62,300. I think I'm going to leave it at that because there is so much to get into. We've got some videos queued up. But, well, Bo, first of all, let me say welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Noah, I love your name.
me too.
You gotta love the fact that I get to speak with Noah to talk about Bible and prophecy. God's in all the details, and thank you for having me on here, Noah.
Yeah, well, coming from the man who has the Noah cycle that we've talked about before, that's very cool. And I also like it on social media whenever I see that meme. It said it's something about it says like all the fact checkers said Noah was wrong, and then it started to rain. I always love that one. I always repost that every time I see it.
No, and that's so true, because what are you doing? You're literally out there. You're the voice in the wilderness, right? Like, we are the voices in the wilderness. That's what you're doing. You're the voice in the wilderness, is shouting, prepare the way, right? So like John the Baptist was shouting, I can't feel God's shoes, Jesus' shoes, but I'm preparing the way. You're standing on the rock, Jesus. You're not budging. No matter what they do to you, you're not backing down, because you know the truth. And the truth is Jesus Christ is Lord King. He's the Alpha, the Omega. And any way you understand what's going on in the world, it's not political. Like I say, it's all biblical. And we're watching biblical manifest right in front of us, but the devil's trying to camouflage it all in politics.
Yeah, that's so true. That's exactly what it feels like. Well, Bo, let me just to kick this off. We were just chatting before we went live, and we were even talking about, hey, should we do the interview today? Should we not do the interview? We almost canceled it, and I said, no, we have to do it. It's perfect timing. But can I turn it over to you? Can you share a little bit of the story of what led to that? Because I think people are going to find it fascinating, and especially maybe the next 10 days that we're heading into. So I'm not even going to put up your slides yet. I just want to hear from you if you can share any parts of that you can, because it's pretty exciting, and it means we have a crazy 10 days coming up ahead.
Right. So it's amazing how God the Father works. He speaks through me. He uses, we're all prophetic. Okay. We all have a little voice that speaks to us. And that little voice, it gives us guidance, tells us, direction. Do we look that way? Do we go that way? Or do we go that way? It's all about choice. And so, and incredibly, to expand upon this, I did an interview yesterday, and it was actually planned to do it yesterday on the 7th of May. And then I knew that today on the 8th, I have an interview with you. So I'm like, okay, well, that's no problem. So it's all lined out. I have a few interviews set up for this week. And then I did an interview yesterday. So those who want to see the interview, please go to my YouTube channel or even on Rumble, but put my name in on YouTube, Bo Polny, and you'll go to my website and you'll see there's an interview. I was instructed to take this video called Stairway to Heaven, or to do the interview, and post it specifically on May 7th. And the video is mind-blowing, okay? And the reason is because this video is about the song Stairway to Heaven. But before that, there's two prophetic words that we give that I'm doing an interview with this lady, Janie Seguin, out of Canada. And so we do this podcast. The two prophecy or prophetic words are just wow to start off with. And then the top of the food chain was a prophecy and an interpretation, actually the interpretation of the song called Stairway to Heaven. So, and it's kind of funny because, like, as kids growing up, come on, like anybody who's, 40, 50, whatever, 30, 40, 40s and 50s for sure, grew up with this song. Man, you couldn't go to a dance or a club or anything without hearing Stairway to Heaven. This was a #1 played song. And it's still to this day, I think it holds a record of never being released as a single, the #1 played song. Only to find out the reason it had such magnetics towards it, the reason people really wanted this song and wanted to hear it, you know why? It was a prophecy. The song was a prophecy. But more importantly, The song is a prophecy about the year 2024. More importantly, it's a prophecy about the month of, or the season. Let's start with that, the season of spring. It actually says it in there. And then it's also a prophecy about the month of May. So this 50-year-old song, and what have we talked about, right? 50-year Jubilee, Leviticus, thou shalt consecrate the 50th year, proclaim liberty throughout the land and all of its inhabitants. So this is the reason this song came out in 71 was very specific, because it was a prophecy about what's going to happen, in terms of the next 50 years, but specifically because of two issues. One was abortion. And what have we talked about in every single podcast, Noah? Abortion's the reason we're here, right? Abortion was the reason why all this evil is upon the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we've said that in every single podcast, I think, at least for the past year or two.
Oh,
and
yes,
for sure. Was because we've moved away from the dollar, and we've moved away from gold, and the dollar itself became fiat, basically backed by nothing, and then petro, but it's never been backed by gold. So we moved away from the gold standard. Why that is a problem is because we changed the money system from what God gave us is honest ledger, honest money, and we decided to use, hey, we're smarter than God, so we're going to use our own money. So we're going to create fiat. We're going to create the petrodollar. So we're going to create our own money. That's what we did. And so the reason all of this started in 71 is because all these things happened in 71. Nixon, the petrodollar, abortion, right? First argument Supreme Court. Nixon takes off the gold standard in 71. And coincidentally, the song Stairway to Heaven comes up. Mm-hmm. You got to go listen to this song. It's and the interpretation of it on this video. We're going to play about a 1-minute clip out of it. But basically, you're going to grasp. We're going to play at the 1-minute clip in this video that literally says specifically, it talks about season, but it talks about the May Queen. Mm-hmm. And you'll understand why all of what we've been talking about, all of what we've been waiting for is going to manifest and is expected to manifest in the month of May. Again, I'm going to repeat this. Everything that Noah and I have been speaking about, everything we've talked about preparing financially is expected now to manifest this season, in fact, this year, 2024. The season is spring and the month is May. And so we've done prior podcasts. Feel free to go listen to those podcasts. We've said specifically the time point between Passover and Pentecost is historic. But the most important time point is the time from Ascension to Pentecost. And that's a 10-day window. Ascension is a time point where Christ ascended to heaven. There's a 10-day window where the apostles sat in the upper room waiting for what? The fire to come down for the Holy Spirit. The fire comes down on Pentecost. That's why, and it came on the Penta, the 50th day. So the 50th day from resurrection is May 18th, 19th, specifically May 19th at sundown. Okay. So we're now at this 10-day window that is critical between starting, say, today, tomorrow, May 8th, 9th, into May 18th, 19th. So this is the critical window of things that are about to go down, or at least expected to go down. Now, why Noah was kind of introduced this video in reference to this podcast was because the prophecy after we did the podcast.
Yeah, this part's so good. Okay, so this is where it all ties together. So this is, go ahead, Bo.
Yeah, so it's kind of like I called up Noah logs in. We're like, no, I have like good news and bad news. The good news is I'm here to do a podcast with you. We can do one again next week. Whatever you want to do, I'm here for you. The bad news is I can't post this on my site today, tomorrow, or this week. Specifically, I cannot post this on my site for 7 days because God instructed me to not post anything on my channels. So between Rumble, YouTube, and Twitter, those are the three that I use. So again, so if anybody's hitting like Facebook and other stuff, that's not me, okay? I'm on YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter, or X. So I was instructed to not post anything after the Stairway to Heaven prophecy revelation for 7 days. So therefore, we're still doing this. Noah's going to post this on his channel, but my question, or the thing you need to ask yourselves, why would God say to not do anything for the next 7 days? You have to really ponder that. And we're now stepping into the most critical time point that we've talked about between Ascension and Pentecost, starting today, tomorrow, May 8th, 9th, into May 18th, 19th. So we're stepping into probably the most critical time point in human history, I believe. And secondly, this correlates to what happened 4 years ago, because if you listen to our prior podcast, we talked about it with Noah. Noah and I spoke about the great undo for the great redo. The undo is what happened, and we need to, the world, and we need to, as the United States, a nation founded under God, need to undo what happened in November into January of 2021, or November of 2020, right? We need to undo that, and they need to redo it all over again. And so and the only way that's going to happen is by the hand of God, okay? And if the hand of God's ever going to manifest on the world, it would be like, look what happened to the Red Sea. The Red Sea miracle, God showed up at the Red Sea, parted it. You understand the calculations if you listen to our prior podcasts. The Red Sea miracle is the same time point, May 18th, 19th. We're going to talk about this. So May 18th, Pentecost, and that's also 40 days. Remember, everybody's freaking out. It's all over your channel as well, Noah. April 8th, right? Remember April 8th, what happened to the eclipse?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, the April 8th, 40 days is the same weekend, May 18th, 19th. Because the 40-day sign of Jonah. That's just Jonah 3:4. So we had this incredible 7-year ago eclipse, and then another 7-year later eclipse. Well, the 7-year later eclipse of April of last month. They cross. They make an X. Right where they make an X, there's actually a cross. It's 111 feet tall. What a coincidence! Because there aren't any. And most importantly, the second cross occurs over cities called Nineveh. And Nineveh talks about, in 40 days, God's going to bring judgment. So we are, if there's ever a time point where like signs, miracles, in the heavenlies, we just saw them. 40 days, literally, in 10 days from now, God's saying, don't do any more podcasts for 7 days. What does that mean? Okay, we're all going to watch together. And then lastly, listen to this little clip, a 1-minute clip of the Stairway to Heaven that literally talks about May. So go ahead.
All right, let's play it.
It's just a spring cleaning. It's just a spring cleaning.
Right now.
We are in spring right now.
Yeah.
For the May Queen. In other words, the month of May. This song is speaking about the year 2024. Stairway to Heaven is speaking about the year 2024. It is speaking about spring, that there will be a shaking in the hedgerows, meaning the trees, the forests are all about to shake. It's going to go down in spring in the month of May. This was prophesied in the song Stairway to Heaven.
I got some good news, people. If there's a blossom in your hedgerow, don't be alone there. It's just a spring clean for May Queen.
I just find this fascinating. 50 years ago, everybody grew up with this song, only to find out it was a prophecy. You got to listen to the whole thing, but it was a prophecy. And so there's so much more about this, but it's all about faith and knowing Christ and knowing that there's two roads, choose wisely. It talks about, the dove. And it's all of this is so much detail in this prophecy. But the point was, it was prophecy. And so the world is listening to the song, especially here in the United States, for 50 plus years, only to find out they've been listening to a prophecy because basically it was anointed. That's why the song, when you listen to it, it's kind of like it would just you gravitate to it, and it was addicting. At the same time, too, evil. Lucifer used to be the musician in heaven, right? So he takes songs, he perverts it. So they'll be, hey, if you play a song backwards, all this satanic stuff. Remember, evil will always take what's of God and try to pervert it. And so, but the song, you couldn't remove the anointing from it, and that's why it's such a powerful song.
Well, I'll put the link to that full video that you did. We'll put that below the video, and I saw that pop up on my feed, and I put it to my favorites, and I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to watch it too because it looks fascinating. So we'll put that down there. But all right, well, so there you have it, everybody. That is from multiple different ways. There's your next 10 days, and I thought, what better way to do this interview. I didn't want to cancel it. I thought let's have Bo come on, and so now we've got it on record, and we're going to see just once again. Bo has done it time and time again, where he'll say something, and then we've got it on video, and we look back on it for years to come. So we'll be watching those next 10 days, and we'll be watching May 18th and 19th. But Bo, that's really just kicking things off. Where do you want to go next? Do you want to go to your slides?
There's actually two things that are up and running right now. Think about this, okay? For years and years, there was only the dollar, the supremacy of the dollar, okay? And if you wanted to send money globally, okay, that was the only way to do that. Listen very closely, everybody. That was the only way to do that. Then, in the past, say, 5-10 years, two things have emerged. Number one is what Noah and I've been talking about, all our podcasts, cryptocurrencies, okay? I can click a button right now on my phone or computer, and I can send a dollar or whatever amount of money's value, currency. I can send a fraction of a Bitcoin or a Litecoin or whatever coin I choose anywhere in the world, and it will arrive there. It's one of the faster coins. It will arrive there in fractions of a second. It's like XRP or Litecoin. Fractions of a second, it will be in Russia, China, anywhere using blockchain. So there's already an alternate means of transacting. But the current people in charge, say Bitcoin's dead 200 plus times. Why? Because they don't want you using that system. So it must be bad because they control the news media. They control the news. And so there is already right now, if everything went dark today, okay, meaning like you couldn't use Swift system anymore, I'm telling you, like that, as long as there's internet, blockchain's up and running. You don't need the Swift right now. You don't need Swift because you've already got blockchain and you can transact globally as long as there's internet. And we're not going Mad Max. I'm telling you, this is not the biblical time for going Mad Max where the world just, we go dark, and we are going to go dark for a short window, but we're not going to go like Mad Max where there'd be no internet for months and years. That ain't happening. You said you want to say something? Go ahead. Noah.
Well, yeah, I put this up on the screen, Bo. A lot of times when you're talking, you say something and it makes me think of something else. And I just want to show people what Bo is saying is just spot on. But I want to show you this video because it's not just Bo saying it. I want to give you a little backup here, Bo. I mean, what you're saying is exactly spot on. This is from my friend, the digital asset investor, and I just saw this clip recently. But I want you to watch this. So shout out to DAI. But I want you to watch this and listen to what Bo just said about how 100 years ago you could, if you wanted to send money, you sent dollars, and that was the only way to do it. You probably mailed them too. Then you had the Swift system. But there was no way to send anything any faster or easier or cheaper or better. But now in the last 5 to 10 years with blockchain, we have it. This guy speaking here is Greg Kidd. He's a pretty famous investor and activist in the blockchain space. Listen to this short little clip here. Let me turn the sound on, and I just want you to listen to this for a second.
Well, when we talk about the U.S. has a couple things going for it. One is the U.S. dollar. It's the money of the world, right? Like English, like you heard what they said about English. If it's good enough for Jesus, it should be good enough for everyone, right? So this U.S. dollar could, when supported by crypto, work not just on these crummy 50-year-old ACH rails and business hours wire transfer services. This medium, traveling on things like the XRP ledger, this dollar could be the currency of the world. Why shouldn't it be? It already is in the traditional world. We just need the tokenized crypto rails form of it, and everybody can live in the Star Trek world. Like in Star Trek in the future, you're not really worried about people paying for dilithium crystals or triples, right? There's some currency and it's in the background and it moves around intergalactically between Klingons, the Federation, Romulans. We have that technology now. It didn't exist before. And so the US can choose to lead, but if it doesn't lead, its sorry ass is going to be still in dollars, issued, run, overseen by people that live offshore. And so it is an absolute strategic imperative today for the U.S. to lead from the front rather than from behind.
Okay, just a couple quick comments, Bo. I know you follow XRP, but you're not a big XRP fan, and he seems to have this vision of crypto supporting the U.S. dollar. I'm not so sure it's going to go that way, but the big part I wanted everybody to hear is listen how they talk about the future. They talk about we finally have the money technology from literally a Star Trek world where you can send money back and forth. We haven't had that in the last 5 to 10 years, and so when you said that, Bo, it just really clicked with me that. I want everybody to know Bo knows what he's talking about. He's not making this stuff up, and there's really smart people behind the scenes saying the exact same thing.
Right, and so we already have an alternate means of transacting. We've always said that our podcast. We always use the word "at distance." Remember that one? The reason you want blockchain and understanding of it because I can click a button and I can transact at distance. And that's what the Fed wire system is. It allows you to transact at distance. The only downside was a huge downside. It's fraudulent. They make money out of thin air. But besides all that, evil operates in the middle of it, right? That's when you go to the bank and say, hey, I want to send a wire to wherever. They ask you what's it for, who you're sending it to, and all those questions. Even if you cut a check, it still has to go through the bank. If I gave you a check, Noah, mailed you a check, that's not money. You'd have to go to the bank to cash it. You see? So the bank's the middleman. That's the problem. From the big picture perspective, that's why the Federal Reserve, the banking system we use right now, it's a middleman. Basically, in the simplest form, it's a middleman system. And
it's a horrible middleman. Yeah,
but you could get control out of it. You see, you get control out of it. So they love that system because it's a control system. Because if they don't want to cash your check, they don't have to. You don't get the money. If they want to press, you have money, Frank Dodd Act. You think you have money in a bank account? No, you don't have money in a bank account. You're an unsecured creditor. So if the bank goes down, you go down with it. That's what it is.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, but they change all the rules, right? So you think you have money in the bank because you always did, but now they change the rules. They they tell you in all the little print that who reads all that, right? Nope.
Yeah.
so this is it's all just a game, right? And so they change. So they start playing the game. They change the rules halfway through the game. You don't know they change the rules. But hey, we told you. We sent you a piece of paper in the mail. But with 50 pages attached to it, or super small fine print. See, no one reads all the rules because they assume the government's going to take care of you. But the government works for Satan. I'm going to repeat that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially now we're 50 years into it. The government works for Satan. And it's a demonic money system. And so back to the money system, with a click of a button, you don't need a middleman with blockchain.
Well,
I did do a little bit more homework on XRP. So good news for you, Nona.
Wait a minute. Breaking news alert. Hang on. Go ahead.
So I did a little homework on XRP. Because I did a couple, one interview with a guy who's really nice, super nice guy. I did a couple of podcasts with him, or one podcast with a couple of guys that love crypto, and I did a little more homework on XRP. And then furthermore, I did a little prophetic research on XRP. And here's what I found out about it. Like the US dollar. The US dollar started out great until. There's always that until. Right? The US dollar is great because you can go to the bank, you give them a piece of paper, they give a piece of gold back, or you go to the bank, you give them some gold, you give them some paper back so you can transact. See, that's all good. It's good intent. But when Nixon took us off the gold standard, now you got demonic money, and God actually says that. If you go listen to the video, Stairway to Heaven, God actually makes direct reference to going off the gold standard. Okay, so that's when the money became satanic. That's when the money becomes demonic. And so we've said before, if you go to XRP, you study it, it's on the World Economic Forum's, top of the food chain for money or coins they want to use. So they want to alter, they want to control the system, but the problem they've got is God. God's going to intervene upon the world. And so XRP, again, and the advantage too, I've always known it's a very, very quick and fast coin. So that's the advantage of it, its speed. But the other thing is when the SWIFT system, this is the prophetic side that I've kind of come to realize. When the SWIFT system goes down, it's going to go down. When the SWIFT system goes down, or no one wants to use it anymore because there's an alternate, you don't have to use a SWIFT anymore. Because the way we transact is about to change forever. And so I truly, I believe, my best guess, and I believe after I do my research and look from the more prophetic side of how this could play out, that XRP might replace. In other words, it'll be the alternate form of transactions outside of the SWIFT system. So it'll be used for high-speed transactions, so people can actually transact. It won't be a store of wealth, so it might go up a lot in value, but still, the store of wealth is going to be in Bitcoin and some more valued coins. But for transactional instruments, I believe people are going to be using XRP for transactions. So I think what you've been doing and stacking some of that has been good, and I added a little bit to my pot.
Hey, well, I love hearing that, and I have a feeling people are going to clip that little part out and share it all over social media. So welcome to the XRP army, Bo.
So again, but again, I want to emphasize this about Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin is grandpa. I like using the word grandpa because he's the one in charge. And everybody always listens to the wise elder, okay? Mm-hmm. And Bitcoin's always dictated direction. I don't care what anybody says. I'll go, XRP is going to go up, and regardless of listen, people, go back and I just go back and I study history. Go back and study history. Look at 10 years or whatever of history, okay? XRP, it might have a few days where it jumps, okay, but then it goes back into a bear market or comes back down again. Look what happened in July. It blew vertical last July. It went to like $1. And then he shot it right back. Now it's back to 50 cents again. You see what I'm saying? Because Bitcoin dictates direction. It's grandpa. And so when Bitcoin's in a bull market, so when you study my newsletter, right? What's on the first 2 pages?
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
Always Bitcoin.
Because Bitcoin determines direction. And first 2-3 pages of my report's always about Bitcoin because it dictates direction. It determines and it dictates direction. And Noah, you've read my reports a couple of years now. I don't know what to describe it except it's insanely fun to watch and accurate. It's crazy. It's literally crazy to watch all the Bitcoin price movement and then watch all the other coins literally follow it. But we also say you want to if you like Bitcoin, you should really like some of the alternate coins that we have in the report, because when Bitcoin goes up 100%, right, it might double. The other coins are going to go 4 to 5x, right? So Bitcoin might double while the other coins go 5 times that, right? So there's certain coins that are super explosive that we cover in the report. But so these coins, because Bitcoin's about to go again, and so they're holding Bitcoin and everything they're doing everything they can right now. Okay, let's just leave it at that. Bitcoin's got a very fun cycle coming, okay, and they're doing everything they can to not let. It's like this massive dam. It's thousands of guys trying to hold this dam from breaching. So what I am passionate about is the next 10 days into Pentecost. That's what I'm passionate about, right? And then the other thing I was saying with 2 transactional instruments, going back to maybe 10 minutes in this conversation, was so blockchain is the one means of transacting, but the other means specifically of transacting outside the Federal Reserve System is what? You've literally got not the SWIFT system, but you've got the BRICS system. They've got an entire transactional freeway they've got set up already using the BRICS. They've been putting this together for 10 years already. So the BRICS can now transact globally and not use the SWIFT system.
Right.
It's important. It's critical. So why do they have this meeting in 10 days now? Because they can say whatever they want and they know whatever. If the US doesn't like it, too bad. We've got our own system implemented already, and it runs through the BRICS system. So it's the sister, brother, whatever it is, they run parallel so you can get to the same point using either one of them. So before there was only one road to take. Now you got 3 roads. You got the SWIFT system, the BRICS system, and blockchain. You got 3 roads to get to the same point. So talk about having a massive problem for the U.S. financial system.
Right. Yeah, and loss of control. Well, for anybody that hasn't used the crypto system, and I know there's a lot of people out there that do use it, but then we have a lot of listeners that they've heard about it, they're interested, they just never used it. It really is a paradigm shift. I mean, Bo, you talk about sending a wire transfer from your bank or even writing a check. Good luck trying to send a wire over the weekend. You can't do it. But, Sunday night, I could log on to my crypto account at 5 p.m., pull up my crypto wallet, and I could send Bo any amount of crypto I want at 5 p.m. on a Sunday night, and it'll show up. And if I use XRP, it'll show up in 4 seconds. 4 seconds, boom. No middleman, no nothing. I mean, Bitcoin can do the same thing. It's more expensive. It's slower. Other cryptos can do the same thing, but whichever one you want to pick. But you can send it at night over a weekend, and it just shows up right in the other person's wallet. It's truly incredible. So once you do that and once you use it, I think your eyes, really open up and you realize what's coming. And that's why we talk about this stuff so much. We talk about gold and silver, but they're not as transportable or portable as crypto is, but they have their own strengths, and we talk about those a lot. But crypto is it's a game changer.
Yes, and even if you used not the SWIFT but the BRICS transactional freeway that they've set up, it's basically still the banking system to whatever degree. You still have to. There's middlemen involved. So the ultimate financial transaction, certainly actually 4, because I laid out 3, but the 4th is gold and silver. But that's like more of a step, because I can have a silver coin in my hand, but I have to either mail it to you, but nowadays the postage system, or I actually have to meet you for lunch or dinner and give you that coin, right? So there's no middleman in the transaction, but that's why gold and silver are in essence a store of wealth.
Sure.
But as of now, there truly is 4 avenues. There's 4 freeways of transactions, and probably the quickest of all of those is what Noah just described, using blockchain. And to click a button and 3-4 seconds later that appears on the other end. See, that's lightning fast. Okay, so there's I believe Litecoin maybe even is going to be has that speed as well too. There's a few coins like that are just lightning fast. And so that's why ultimately, the prophecy is the way we transact is about to change forever. People, whether you agree or not, I don't care. It's going to happen. See, you can't change what's coming. You can either prepare for it or not. If you're not prepared for it, then you're going to be forced your way into it when it happens, because you're like, well, I guess they were right. So how do you do that blockchain thing again? Like,
Right.
How do you send a coin, or how do you get involved in cryptocurrencies? So, what do we do? A long time ago, a couple of years ago, we put together the easy crypto school. What? Because it's easy. Crypto school. We teach you how to do it. And I've been doing this for a long time. So we've laid out all the 7 steps. There's 7 steps. And it's like literally watch video 1, watch video 2, watch. And you're just like, and talk about simple. So getting involved is not complicated. It's easy. On the other end of it, it's tricky, because if you make one mistake, like, I think I've lost 5 Ethereum when I first started doing this. Okay. Well, what's Ethereum right now? 3,000. So that 3 times 5, I've lost $15,000. That's just one example of what I've lost. Trust me, a lot more than that. I'm sure you've lost too, Noah. But the point is, it's like, it's not complicated, but it's precise. It's like, you can't do step 3 unless you've done 1 and 2. So it's very precise in how you do these things. But ultimately, you realize, that's not hard. You just got to learn the steps. And so you got to go to school for a few hours, and you can pick it up how to do it. It might take you a day or 2 or 3 or whatever. It even takes a month. Who cares? It does. It's the videos are all there to learn how to do it. You need to do it. No, you don't need to do it. It's just that you're going to look in whether a week, a month, a year from now, like, what was the name of that school again? How do you do it? Because you can't stop what's coming.
Yeah, I've got it up on the screen, Bo. This slide right here, like Bo said. And I, every time we do an interview, Bo, I always hear from people that want to get started in crypto. They don't know how. And then there have been, hundreds of people in the last couple of years that have signed up and gone through your school, because I can see the stats. And every time we do an interview, there's more and more people that jump on board. So that's why I like talking about it, because I know we're helping. I know we're making a difference. And I can help you out a little bit more too. If you go to that, you go to easycryptoschool.com. Bo always gives a coupon code for anybody listening to this podcast. So when you go to, if you want to sign up for that, like Bo said, you don't have to. Obviously, Bo comes on here for free and gives out all this info. But if this is something that would help you, Bo does have it available. If you want to sign up for that, when you get to the checkout, look for the promo code or the discount box, and you type in WLT49, going to take 50% off, and then you can get in there and access all the courses and modules and go through it. If you've been listening to our interviews and you're saying, okay, I put it off, I haven't prepared, I know I want to get some of this stuff, I don't really know how or what to do, then that's for you. And Bo, I suppose as long as we're here, you said earlier, I heard you say we have a very exciting month of May coming. And of course, you covered in your newsletter. I know a lot of people listening get that already, but for the people that don't, and I know you can't share everything, but maybe you can give us a little teaser. What are we looking at in the coming month of May here?
What you want to look at is that chart right above you there, the very top slide, page 66, I believe it's called. So you look at it. This is, like I said, what I do, I take charts of history, and the Bible is very clear. Ecclesiastes, that which has been will be again, and there is nothing new under the sun. What does that mean? It means that life replays itself. It echoes of the past. And so look at the cycle at the very top there. It's called a historic cycle. Okay, well, that's interesting. Now, yes, it's interesting, but then it gets crazy, because when you take the historic cycle at the top and you look and you compare it to the cycle at the bottom is present day Bitcoin for the past 6 months. Noah, we have watched Bitcoin go up and down, and we've known weeks and months in advance when it rises into, how long it runs, how long it will drop or dip, and then when it starts to run back up again. Like, this has been nothing but an absolute enjoyment. Like, when you know what's coming, all you do is have peace in your heart. So, like, the whole thing about life is knowing that that Jesus Christ is King. He's the Alpha, the Omega. He's the beginning and the end. He wrote the end from the beginning. He was there at creation. In the beginning was the Word. It's Jesus, right? But what I'm saying is that when you know Christ and you know the truth, because that's who he is, you start to understand that there's nothing to fear. And so, in addition to knowing Christ, when you start seeing the financial system and how it works, what's there to fear? Because we know what's coming. And so our subscribers, they get the Bitcoin index, and they're just like, you can go back months and look at this stuff, years. Like, do I get everything right? No. Are you talking about like a huge accuracy? Like, the accuracy we have is crazy. And it's wild to watch, but the accuracy does one thing for the viewers, for those that subscribe. You don't need it, but if you want to know the details, the point of it is it gives you peace because you know which direction it's going. You just need to know what direction something's going. Is it going up or down? That's all you need to know. It's going to go up. How long is it going up for? Right? That's the fun part. And so when you know which direction things are going, and May is expected to be a very powerful or very historic month. Cryptocurrencies, precious metals. And so the point I'm trying to make with all of this is, look at the cycle at the top, look at the cycle at the bottom, and tell me it's not identical to within maybe 24 hours. It's crazy, but it's happening. So we watch the future unfold because it's not random. The future is not random. And I think the charts and the analysis prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt. Why do you have them coming back on? Because you watch this stuff happen. And, we've not steered anybody wrong. We steered everybody in the right direction. Those have been with us. We're buying Bitcoin at 14,000. It's at 60 plus thousand right now. The patterns have been incredible and fun to watch.
Yes, it has.
And the exciting part is you don't need $60,000 to buy a Bitcoin today because there's coins that you can buy that are under $1. There's coins that are just over $1. There's a lot of coins that are out there that are really good, but you got to be careful. Let's finish on this. There's, I think, 10,000 coins, of which we don't need probably 9,900. Okay, so you got to be careful. You got to just be careful. You got to kind of know a little bit what you're doing in cryptocurrencies, but beyond, because in terms of what you want to know what to be holding, understanding that XRP is a very transactional coin, and he's right about that. And there's a lot of other coins that are really fantastic as well too. But the point is, we're stepping into a new financial system. Why? Because the way we've transacted is about to change forever. Why? Because the SWIFT system that the world's been using for all these decades, is about to go down. If it doesn't go down, it'll become unimportant. So it's either going to go down or become unimportant. I think it's probably both, but probably more so the unimportant. No one's going to want to care. No one's going to care anymore because when it loses the status of world reserve currency, you can still have the SWIFT system, the Federal Reserve SWIFT system. Who cares? No one needs it anymore because it's no longer the world reserve currency. You get it? See, so that is the prophecy on this. The dollar is going to be dethroned as a world reserve currency. And, we've got this incredible, next 10 days. Does it happen next 10 days? I don't know. All I know is that 2024 is going to be epic. Epic is what it's going to be. Okay. So awesome things are coming. And so we might as well sit on the right side of the fence for these things as they manifest. Because if you're prepared, there's no stress. But if you're watching it happen and then you do the shoulda, woulda, coulda, but I didn't, well, that's where stress comes from.
Yeah, no, that's so good. All right. Well, that sounds like an amazing month and few weeks to come. So if you would like to get more information on Bo's newsletter, I know we have a lot of people listening that already get it. But if you'd like it, you don't have to get it. Again, picture on the screen shows a lot of the coins that are covered. There's even more that are not pictured on that screen that Bo has. He does have XRP in his report, so he tells you where that's going. But as he said, they all tend to follow Bitcoin. And so Bitcoin is, of course, the main feature there. If you want to take a look at that, you go to gold2020forecast.com. And same thing with this one. When you go to sign up, if you're listening to this interview, he's going to give you a discount off of that. You type into the promo code box WLT49. That's only good for a limited amount of time, and then it does expire. So if you'd like to get that, go ahead and grab it. And we won't go into it today because I'm really short on time. But we talked in the last interview, or maybe the one before that, about where the name Gold 2020 Forecast comes from. Really interesting. So you can go back and watch one of our prior reports. But Bo, I got about 5 minutes left, and I know you got to run too. But before we go, this is going to be one of those rare interviews where we don't get to half of the things in your slides, or 90% of them even. There's so much in here. You got a lot of great stuff. I'd urge the people to grab the slides. The link will be below this video. But before we go, I'd like to just jump to one. You posted on your Twitter a few days ago about, it's always fun to talk horse racing and the names of the horses.
Yeah, we got to finish with the horse races. God uses all things for his glory.
He really does.
Finish with the horse races. I agree with you, Noah.
And there have been so many instances in the past of the names meaning something, and we just had it hit again. So I got it on page 48. Give us about a 5-minute summary of what this is. It's pretty crazy. I didn't understand it all when it was on your Twitter. It's just so much better to hear from somebody. So walk us through it. This is really cool.
Okay, so we talked about finance. Okay, what's the hub of all finance? What? The Federal Reserve System, right? We talked about that today. Guess when it was founded? 1913.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting because that same year was the true origins of the Arab-Israel conflict. What's going on right now? Are you with me?
Oh, yeah.
So 1913 is pivotal. Now let's put the cherry on top of all this. 2 years ago, there's a horse, page 46, called Rich Strike. Rich Strike wins the Kentucky Derby. That's why I was pinned to who's going to win this next Kentucky Derby, because I know that this is very important based on God's going to speak through this, okay? And so I knew it was going to be important, and before the horse race actually occurred, I posted on Twitter, because I didn't know it was going to win, so, but God kept saying, post 111, 111, 111. I'm like, what does that mean, right? He goes, go back to the 1913 slide I was telling we had it done earlier. So I'm like, okay. So I go and I subtract 2024 from 1913. 111, Trinity. The perfect Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So then why this happened was because I posted that, and then next thing you know, the horse comes in and wins. Guess what? Number won the race. Number 3. Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. The Trinity won the race. Now this gets more interesting because when you go back to Rich Strike, which is specifically, he won the race in 2022. If you flip Rich Strike, it's Strike It Rich. But no one struck it rich, really, in 2022. That wasn't the point. The point was the odds. It was the odds of winning was an infinity. It was 8, but it was 80 to 1. And this is the wild part. The last time a horse won, the last time a horse won with 80 to 1 odds, but more importantly, the last time a horse came back from behind, literally the last will become first. The last time this ever happened when a horse came from the back of the pack, the last horse to win the whole Kentucky Derby was, guess what year? 1913.
Wow.
You see, so God is basically showing us Federal Reserve. He's talking about Rich Strike, and he's talking about the Israel conflict, all of which is screaming 2024, the perfect Trinity. And then, whoa, are you kidding me? The horse that won, page 47, is called Mystic Dan, and his number was number 3. His number was number 3, the Trinity. But this is the cool part. You got to expand upon this, because in order for the Federal Reserve System has to fall, in other words, become unimportant, lose the status of world reserve currency, right? Who controls it? All the prophets of Baal. So you got to take out the mystics, the prophets of Baal. And so the odds of Mystic Dan winning were 18 to 1. When you read 1 Kings 18, this is like incredible. After a long time, read this, 1 Kings 18, in the 3rd year, the word of the Lord came to Elijah, and Elijah called down the fire. He called down the fire on all the prophets of Baal, and they were destroyed. He took them all. They were killed. He did all the prophets. The Jezebel spirit, all of it was destroyed in the 3rd year. 3rd year. Let's do some math. We have the inauguration, January 20th, 2021. 3 years is 2024. What a coincidence. If you run the Daniel cycle, it takes you to exactly the 4th of July.
Oh,
all I'm telling you is between now, May, something crazy is going to biblical. That's crazy. Don't forget, I don't want to use the word crazy. Something biblical is about to go down. Okay, which leads into a historic June, and then probably one of the greatest 4th of July celebrations the world's ever seen. I don't know what's going to happen, but the math sure is fun. And I know God wins. God's in charge. He knows what the enemy's planning. So whatever the enemy's planning, it doesn't matter, because God's got a bigger plan. He's got the best plan. He's got the perfect plan, and it's going to be in his perfect timing. And based on what what we're trying to reveal here today is explain is all of it technically is actually based on the 50th year and the year 2024. The season is spring, and from what we're gathering and what I'm gathering here is the month specifically from all the calculations. Now even the Stairway to Heaven prophecy revelation indicates all of it is pointing to the month of May.
Fantastic. That is a perfect way to wrap it up. Bo, I'm sure glad we didn't cancel the interview today. I think this is going to be one that goes down in the history books and we look back on. So thank you for coming on. Grab both slides. There's so much in here. We didn't even scratch the surface, but we covered a lot of really important stuff that you need to know right now as we sit here on May 8th. So grab the slides, hit the link below. And if you want to go to his school, you go to easycryptoschool.com. If you want to get his newsletter, you go to gold2020forecast.com. And Bo, we'll have you back on soon. Maybe again here in May towards the end as we get past the 10 days. We'll look back and see what's happening and we'll break it all down. So thanks for coming on and we'll see you again real soon.
God bless. Hi, this is Bo Polny. I have an official announcement and update with regards to the release and pre-order of my new book, Revelation, the Good News. First, thank you to all the amazing people who pre-ordered my book. Actually, it's really not my book, it's God's book, for it is He who revealed to me the biblical timing that is detailed within this book. So all glory to God. Second, we never expected such an incredible response from all of you loyal, amazing people. And consequently, our entire first print was sold out, and we ended up needing to double the quantity of that first print to meet demand. So here it is, finally, the ship date. The ship date for all pre-orders are expected to go out on or about May 7th, which is 2 weeks before readers can buy it in stores at regular price. And yes, you heard me correctly. Because of the pre-order excitement that was generated by the pre-sales, the large book chain distribution companies have reached out to my publicist asking to have our book available in many top U.S. department stores, including Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and others. So again, thank you deeply for your loyalty in pre-ordering the book. Again, those who purchased the book on our website, gold2020forecast.com, will be the first to receive the book 2 weeks before it is released and available in bookstores throughout the United States. And for those first hearing about this book, let me give you a quick summary. It is a prophetic understanding of God's perfect timing from creation to His coming return. It is explosive. It is the first book I have ever written and will explain and illustrate with beautiful full color, full page graphics of God's timing of events into the end of the age, the end of days. After reading it, you will want to keep this beautiful book on your coffee table and share it with all of your friends and family. This book is going to open your eyes to present day events and how they are occurring with mathematical perfection as they directly fulfill events prophesied in Revelation, in the book of Revelation, over 2,000 years ago. God speaks through His written word. It's called the Bible. He speaks through His servants, the prophets. And yes, He speaks through math, numbers. If you want to see how truly perfect His timing is and the specific calculations He has revealed about our future into the end of the age, the end of days, this book has all the incredible details. Here's a glimpse of the cover and a few inside images. I doubt there's a book like this anywhere in the world. It illustrates God's perfect timing calculations from creation to the book of Revelation, including the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and the 7 seals of Revelation. It includes the great eclipse that just occurred in April, and the coming great Egyptian eclipses, the coming aliens, yes, aliens, we talk about aliens, the rise of Antichrist and the mark of the beast, the coming rapture, and all the way to the likely timing of Christ's return, and much, much more. The mathematical calculations revealed are beyond any human probabilities, clearly illustrating the end of days were written by the hand of God at the beginning. It has a lot of surprises and will open your eyes to how great our God is. I believe it's going to blow your mind and get you excited and prepared for the times ahead. It'll give you a way to look at recent events in our world and give you the power and understanding of how long we really have into the end of days and how all things are working together for good. That's why, after reading this book, you'll begin to see how Revelation, like the Bible, is the good news. So, if you want to get a copy of this book and you haven't got it yet, pre-order it. Go to our website, gold2020forecast.com. When you're at the checkout page, be sure to enter the code 777, and that code will give you a 30% discount. So again, be sure to use the code to save the 30%. This is Bo Polny. I love you. Jesus Christ loves you. And I know you will love this book. Fasten your seatbelts for May. God bless.